Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with a discussion video, but not related to The Sims. This is about Paralives. You may have heard about this game. A lot of other YouTubers who do The Sims also have been talking about this. And it looks like The Sims might finally have some well overdue competition. By now you probably already know about Paralives, so I'll keep my explanation for the game fairly short. So this is being developed by one person so far, amazingly, and it's Alex Masse, who is actually based in Canada, so that's cool that a fellow Canadian is working on this game, and he has worked on some games before, including PewDiePie's Tuber Simulator. At the moment, this game is still in early development, but has already gained a lot of support. At the time of me making this video, there's 1,270 patrons, and $2,329 per month, so yeah, that's definitely not a number to sneeze at. At this time, there is no release date, and it is going to be released on PC and Mac, and I believe at some point it was mentioned that consoles are still being considered. And so far, from what little we've seen, I think it does look pretty nice. I really like the art style, even though it's not really as advanced as The Sims 4 looks. I still enjoy how it looks from an artistic perspective. It looks pleasing to my eyes and just has this very relaxing sort of vibe to it, which I can really get behind. In terms of features, this game looks extremely ambitious. Open world? Yup. Color wheels? Yup. Cars? Yup. Bikes? Yup. Horses? Yup. Boats? Yup. Pets? Yup. Seasons? Yup. And somehow that's supposed to be all there from the start. And not just that, there are some really advanced build tools that are available too, including resizing windows and objects, and much more flexible stair placement, curved walls. There's just a whole lot going on here that's being promised. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that yes, it will have mod support, and you can actually share your creations through the Steam Workshop, which is actually a pretty cool idea because I already use that with certain games like City Skylines, and I find that a lot easier to work with than getting mods for The Sims. You just click a button to subscribe to the creation, and then it's just automatically put into your game instead of figuring out, oh, where is it in my documents that I gotta place this thing? And while seeing all of this promised content is exciting, I see it as a double-edged sword. It also makes me worried, because especially coming from someone who's played video games for a long time, even though I've played a lot of games that I've enjoyed, I've seen many games where initially they look so promising just to end up being really disappointing in the end. And this does not just apply to The Sims, it's applied to so many different games that I've played in the well over 20 years of my life. So that does make me keep my guard up a little bit. I was actually going to wait until they do a full reveal sort of trailer for the game, but I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll just get my honest thoughts out there now, because regardless of whether this game ends up being really cool or it ends up being a flop, I still want to cover it, and I do think competition is a healthy thing. For example, like with kart racers, I've grown up on kart racers, and it's not bad to have multiple kart racers, because even though Mario Kart is really fun, I like playing some other games like Team Sonic Racing, where you have some things that are different, like the team mechanics, or with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, where there's the more advanced drifting tactics and overall harder difficulty. So I think it would be really cool to have Paralives become a real thing and live up to its promises. And it could end up being really great, but there might be things that The Sims still does better than Paralives. Because one other thing that does make me feel a little bit suspicious is that we've seen barely anything regarding the actual people in the game, whatever they're called, whether they're just being called people or parafolk, as I've seen the fan site Paralives Hub call them. I actually wouldn't mind if they were called parafolk officially, but maybe it's going to be to the point where it's like Paralives will be a builder's dream come true, but then with The Sims, maybe The Sims will still have more engaging characters. Of course, it's still too early to tell, and it doesn't make sense to reveal all your cards at once, but I have noticed they're focusing a whole lot on the building tools and really not so much on everything else. You can kind of see the people a little bit, like in that gif of the dog, and there's a couple of people you can see in the shot of the boat, which we can also build ourselves over the water. So yeah, I mean, it could be a really cool game, but also just from all the disappointment I've seen in the past, it does make me a little worried that this game might not be what it's hyped up to be, at least from the start. And since Paralives is on Patreon, I do want to mention that from what I've seen, there's kind of a mixed history in terms of how well these Kickstarter sort of projects do. Because there are a couple of games that I've seen be pretty decent, like Distance and Hover, but then there's games that have got a lot of popularity and so much support, like Mighty Number 9 and Yooka-Laylee and the Ouya video game console, just for them to be huge disappointments in the end. I'm also wondering how one person is able to do all of this for a life simulation game, because it's taken so long for The Sims to have any real direct competition, and I think there's a good reason for that. Sure, there have been some fan projects that I've seen, especially from the Sonic fan base, that do look pretty ambitious and feel a little bit better than official products in some cases. Like a month or two ago when I played with the Sonic Infinity engine, that looked really cool and I really enjoyed it more than just the feel of Sonic Forces. But just like when it comes to it becoming a full game just from one person, it feels a little off to me. I don't know. If it was something really small like a puzzle game, sure. Or if maybe half the things that were part of that feature list were in there, then I could believe a little bit more easily. And then maybe certain things, if it was like, oh, if we reach this certain milestone, then seasons will be in the game. Or if we get to this much money, then pets will be in the game. But yeah, it's just all this is being promised from the start, and I feel like if there can be a catch, there often is. Even though it does say on the Patreon page that Alex intends to build a small team with enough money, I still wonder how he's even managed to get this far with what he's done just on his own. Perhaps he has actually been working on this game on his own for quite a while already, as in like a few years. So the purpose of me making this video is to not rain on anyone else's parade or to hate on Paralives, but I do need to be honest with myself. Even though I do want Paralives to succeed, I also at the same time need to be honest and realistic with myself. There's a lot being promised, and I'm still not 100% sure that it can be all of those things. So even if I do appear to be overly negative in this video, I still wish Alex Masse good luck. I really want Paralives to be that competitor to The Sims that I think has really been needed for a while, because maybe both games could really learn from each other. And considering how many things are being promised for Paralives, I do feel like maybe one of those sort of catches, I guess you could say. It's not really too much of a catch, but I don't think this game's going to come out for a few years at least. And maybe, just maybe, it could end up coming out like the same year as The Sims 5. Even though that rebranding happened, I still think The Sims 4 is going to be ended eventually, and there will be a successor to The Sims 4 so that they can continue trying to innovate the series and bring in new features and old features that would not be possible to do with The Sims 4. So yeah, that would be quite something. Just imagine Paralives and The Sims 5 coming out months within each other and giving each other direct competition, and not just like trying to compete against each other, but also gather inspiration from each other as well. So maybe that could end up being a thing. And like I said in my recent video about maybe University possibly coming as an expansion for The Sims 4, I really do hope that Paralives has lit a fire underneath EA and Maxis, because they really need to step up their game, not just because of Paralives, but how some of their recent packs have been received, where it's like Strangerville. Yeah, personally, I liked it, but I know a lot of people didn't like it, especially because the replay value is pretty limited. And with Island Living, where it can be argued pretty easily, in my opinion, that it could be like a game pack more than a full-on $40 expansion pack. It's like, yeah, there's all these factors. Oh, and of course, like the controversial rebranding. There's all of these things that are piling up against EA and Maxis, and they need to do better. They need to do better regardless of whether Paralives gives them legit competition or not. So here's to hopefully a better future, but we'll have to wait and see. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this video here, so feel free to let me know your thoughts on Paralives in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!